I am not a licensed mobility scooter technician. I do what I do to keep my machine working. If you're having problems with your machine, I suggest going to your dealer. If you add accessories, warranty goes bye-bye. So I just kind of want to enjoy what I can while I can. So I strongly suggest you don't do the things that I do. I make the mistakes so you don't have to. Hey folks, so I have an unplanned project for today. I hope it doesn't take too long. It's not a super hot day today, but we have 2 hot days coming up. I'm going to be doing some long runs. And I want to be able to trust my battery meter. I went up that big hill today. I lost 2 bars right off the bat. And it stayed like that for the rest of the trip. So it was lying to me. And last time I went for a long tour, I took the Monster's charger with me. And like I said before, when I was using the ES950, the last time I used the Monster, the batteries were drained. And they were charged up in the ES950, so when I put them in here, it still said the batteries were drained. So I showed you, I plugged the charger in for a few seconds, and that fixed the meter because the Monster thought it was charged, and it was reading accurate full batteries. Well, the same thing happens when I'm out. After I go up that hill, if I plug in the Monster charger, I shut the Monster off first, obviously, plug in the charger, and then it's reading full charge again. Because for whatever reason, these batteries, the voltage drops pretty far when I go up that hill under heavy load. The old batteries never did that. I could go up that hill and not lose any bars at all on the meter, but you know, now I'll lose 1, sometimes 2. I lost 2 today. The last few times I've gone up there, I've only lost 1. And then the way this meter works, the battery only drops, it never goes back up. So the only way to get it to go back up is to make it think it was charged. So rather than taking a charger with me, I do have the space thanks to these bags. I can put my shopping in here, and I have a box of tools that I take with me in case something comes loose or whatever, and I check the wheel bolts every once in a while just to make sure. So I take that with me, and I still got room, but there's plenty of room in that bag for the Monster's charger with it. It's just extra weight that I gotta carry, and I don't want to do that. So I mentioned before, I don't know where they are. I can't find them. I have a couple of these, and I explained why I had them in that, but I can't find them. So I was gonna make something. There's 3 pins in here. There's the positive and negative for charging, and there's a 3rd pin. I don't remember what it's called, but when you plug the charger in, that 3rd pin gets grounded, and that tells the Monster that the charger's plugged in. So if I just plug in the positive and negative, then it'll still charge the batteries, but it won't. The Monster won't know it's charging. So that pin has to be grounded. So what I was going to do is I was going to take one of these tips and just connect the negative and the grounding pin. That's what it's called. That way, you know, I plug it in for a few seconds, the Monster thinks it's charged, and the battery meter will read accurately again. I don't have a clue where those are. So I have this switch in here that's been here for a while. I was going to use that for the cooling fan, but that idea didn't pan out because computer fans don't like moisture apparently, and it doesn't work anymore before I even got a chance to use it. So so I'm going to use that switch, so when I push this switch in, it'll ground that pin while anywhere I am, right? So that is my plan for today. That's what I'm going to do, because we have a couple hot days coming up and I'm going to be going a long tour again. Just as an example, I go up the hill, I lose, let's say, 1 bar. If I don't go up that hill, I go out the highway, go down McLean line, until I get the first hill on the next dirt road going uphill. That's when I lose the first bar. So, you know, that tells you a lot right there. So, it's just, it does not read accurately. When I do long runs, it's nice to know exactly how much charge I've got, you know. And coming back into town, if I go out Glen Annan Road and come back North Street, there's some really steep hills coming home, and I'll go right down to my low battery warning at that point, you know. And it's not true. So I am going to hook this switch up to the grounding pin. It won't affect the monster charging at all. Everything else will still work. It'll just be an extra route to ground, I guess you could say. So that's what I plan on doing today. The sun's super bright coming in, so I got the door closed. Otherwise, the floor lighting up's going to overwhelm everything and just not be great. So I guess that's all I got to talk about. I'll get started. So we do have red and green and black. Which in theory should be positive, and one of these negative and the other one's the grounding pin. In theory. However, I remember when I was wiring the lights, I had red and black backwards. Black was actually the positive and red was the negative, so I'm not going to trust that. I am going to test reach them from up here. No. Permanently attached. Yeah. So they're not plugged into anything, they're permanently attached. So I'm going to do this from the front. And the bottom one is positive. Top one is negative. They have it right. So now what I'm going to do is somewhere in the middle, I'm going to cut one. I'm going to use these little connectors that I got. For the first time. So I can tap in and I have 2 outputs. Okay, and somewhere on here is a guide. Yeah, it's too small. There's a guide on here that tells me how much wire I need to strip, but The insulation will fit in the hole, so it doesn't really matter. You don't need to take off a lot. It'll take a little more than that though. Nice thing about this, no soldering, no electrical tape, no heat shrink tubing. Another possible source of vibrations. Okay, so which way do I need to do this? I am going to have to solder though. I'm going to have to solder onto my switch terminals. Okay. Let's go negative right directly from the monster. What do you think? Oops. Leave that one open. Okay. Now I gotta do the same thing with this one. Actually, I gotta wait to put that one on. Ow. Ow. Make it easier to do this one. And cut it in basically the same place. This one's thicker. This one being, I'm guessing this is the negative and this is the grounding pin. Yeah, it would make sense because the grounding pin's in the middle. Because the charging wires are actually thicker and the grounding pin is not quite as thick, so that makes sense. Makes sense to me. So this should be a quick and easy job. Keyword being should. Okay, so split the source. Make sure that's in. Oops, put too far in. So these are rated at 120 volts, 15 amps, so you know the monster's charging will not be affected. Okay. So far so good. I would like to plug the charger in and test to make sure everything's still working. I'm sure it is anyways. But unfortunately, if I do that, then I will reset this, and I want to test this. I can't test it if it's already reset. So now I need me some wire. Okay, I'm going to take a break because I got to plug the soldering iron in. I forgot that I was going to need it. So I need to leave time to let that heat up. So hey, we'll take a quick break here. So I got the door open now. The sun's mostly moved off. It doesn't seem to be affecting the video any. Maybe a little bit. but not much. So, turned out to be an extra long break, because I took my break and I checked the soldering iron, make sure it was hot enough, and it was still cold. So apparently this end of the extension cord was unplugged. So I'm guessing I backed over it with the monster and pulled it out. So I had to try again. And wait, it's good to go now. So I got a couple pieces of wire. This is the general wire that I use for everything in the monster. So it's a little thicker, but it should still work. See if I can stick it through the hole. No, I'm not going to get it all through the hole, so I'm going to see if I can split it. Split it. Get some of it through the hole. And then twisty, twisty. So at least it's holding on. So at least if the solder doesn't hold for some reason, at least it's not going to fall off. I know from experience, you don't overheat these switches. That worked. I'll do the same thing again. A little bit more. Oop. Damn it. There we go. And more on this end. That should be good. The other side seemed to split itself, so I'll just let it split on its own. Yeah, more than one strand of wire through it would be nice. So this is not polarized, so it doesn't matter which way I stick them in, because all I'm doing is connecting the two together. Oop, I missed. I missed. Let's see what I'm doing here. There we go. I got that one. I should have done the bottom one first, I guess. Okay, good and strong. So now I gotta separate these. Make sure they stay separated. I'm gonna double up just in case. There, just in case. Not my prettiest job, but okay. What happens when I turn the monster on? No problems. Okay. So let's see if this works. Try to get the camera here somewhere where you can see. And I'm getting overhead lights. Turn that off, turn the monster lights on, there you can see. So right now I'm reading half gauge. So I will turn the monster off, turn the switch on, and it thinks it's charging. I turn the switch off, turn the monster back on. Full charge. I'll give it a second to catch up to what the actual level is. It'll probably only go down 1 if it goes down at all. No, it's not going to go down. So technically I'm still reading full charge after today's tour, which is not surprising to me at all. I believe I solved the problem. Okay, now let's plug the charger in and see what happens. So immediately it says, oh, make sure you can actually see it. Oh yeah, I can't turn the light on. Can't turn the light on when the monster's not on. So I will turn the charger on, and it is charging. Okay. I know you can't see it. Maybe a little bit now, but it is charging. So when it says it's at, when it's reading full, it says I have a full charge, it doesn't mean it's full. It just means the voltage is at the level where it needs to be to read full. So obviously I did a full tour today, so obviously it's not going to be fully charged. So it's just kind of topping off the upper level of the batteries now. Oh, excuse me. Holy traffic! So everything's good. It's just, you know, see, I'm almost full already. It's almost reading full. Just after what, 2 minutes of charging, if that. The cooling fan's slowing down, which means the current's slowing down. So I'm happy. I can reset my battery meter at any time now. So what I noticed before is when I did it, when I plugged the monster's charger in when I was out, it would read full and then it would come down 1 bar at a time until it got to where the actual level was, which is pretty cool. So it'll still lie right at the start. It'll tell me I'm full, but I'm not, because it thinks it was just charged, so it starts off at full. So I'm happy. I just got to remember to make sure that switch is not on. It's not a momentary switch, it's an on-off switch, so I just gotta make sure I don't hit it with my knee or anything and turn it on, because if I try to turn the monster on and I get an error, I'm gonna get confused. What's going on? So, well, let's see what we get. I'm gonna turn it on. and nothing's happening. Huh. Wait a minute here. Okay, unplug the charger. Okay. This might be a good thing here. So you can see. Oh, turn it on. Okay. See, it's now reading full. So I'm going to turn the monster off, turn the switch on. And it thinks it's charging. And when I turn the monster on, nothing happens. Except the light goes out. So it's not even going to try to turn on. I won't get an error. It just won't even turn on when the monster is not. I don't know what you can see there. The monster's being charged. Apparently it won't turn on. So that's pretty cool. So I'll turn that off. And the monster comes on. Okay. So I don't have to worry about accidentally leaving that switch on, because if I do, the monster just won't turn on. On, off. Charger back in. Charger on. Perfect. That's exactly what I needed. An easy project that went according to plan. I am happy, I am happy. And that's going to solve... It's going to solve a lot of issues. As far as not knowing what my charge level is. So I can now get a real-time reading of what the monster's charge is. That's perfect. That's a quick way to avoid a warranty if I had one. But Heartway sees fit to do things improperly. Give us a battery monitor that lies. Gotta do what you gotta do to make things work properly. So before I put the other screws in on the other side, I dropped one and it went underneath the shelf, so I gotta search for it. So I guess I'll end the video here. So, good project. Successful project. And one that's gonna solve a problem for me. I'll get to test it out tomorrow because I'm going for... Actually, I never check for rain, now that I think of it. But temperature's supposed to be nice and hot, so perfect day. I'm not sure how many hot days we're going to have. It's September 1st today. So, you know, in a week, kids are going back to school. And that's my gauge for saying summer's over. So, will we get a September summer this year? I don't know. Maybe these 2 hot days coming up will be it. I guess we'll find out sooner or later, but we're gonna get them now, so I'm gonna enjoy them now.